Sear, our non-stimulant, thermogenic, and recomposition agent. Sear is a super cool product because it's going to help you utilize turning your white adipose tissue, which is for storage of fat, into brown adipose tissue, which is going to help with energy production. So this is great to use for a competition prep or in your weight loss phase. So you can stack it with a stimulant-based thermogenic, or you could also use it in your off-season or muscle building phase to help keep you lean and mean. Sear.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Pro Physique Code, and today I have a special guest. This is Timothy Smith, who actually took third place in our 90-day transformation challenge. I think it was called the New Year, New You, the one we started back in, was it February or March that we started?
In February.
Yep. Yeah, February. We strategically started it the day after the Super Bowl.
That was brilliant.
It was pure accident. That's why I said strategically, because I think going forward we will do that. But yeah, we noticed. What I noticed was if you do them too early, like January 10th, people don't have their life together yet. So
yeah, totally.
February felt better.
And we all need to eat on the Super Bowl, so it's nice to do that unimpeded.
Yeah, I think the next challenge is about to start here in a few weeks. This one, does it end on Memorial Day or start on? It starts the day after Memorial Day weekend. Yeah, that's what it is. So like everyone's going to go on their vacations, then they're going to, they can take their update pictures right then and just get right after it.
Fantastic.
So what got you to join the challenge? Was this your first one? Because a lot of times it's, not the first one.
No, this was my second one, and I got kind of turned on to your channel by my dad. So my
Nice.
dad's somebody I've seen lifting weights forever. But as he gets older, weight has become more of a struggle. And for myself, that was the same deal, just not even being too high up in age yet, but really was starting to struggle with my weight. So he kind of turned me onto your channel and that's how I found the program.
Perfect. And so let's talk about the actual weight loss or inches lost. Because obviously to place in a competition like this, let me tell you, this was probably the most competitive one we've had as far as picking the winners. So from start to finish, what were the biggest changes, like weights and measurements and things like that?
My goal initially was to lose 30 pounds. And once that became attainable, as I just started seeing my numbers, I raised the bar and took that up to 40. And I finished just short of that, like 39.4 pounds total.
That's insane.
I was thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled about it. And my pants, I was starting to fit into stuff I haven't since college. So, I mean, I went from over 34 to a 30 waist and, just feels awesome.
So that's 40 pounds is like a small child. That is a lot to carry around.
Yeah.
That's remarkable. And you lost 4 inches off your waist, you said. So obviously kind of a new wardrobe, and obviously people around you were probably noticing some pretty big differences.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that was part of the fun of it. I had friends, once they would start making comments, they said, when you're done with this, I want to take you shopping, or we'll go to the thrift store, we'll get some stuff that fits you, because that doesn't fit you anymore.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So, that was May that it ended, right?
Yeah.
So we're now in August. So how has the transition for you been out?
It's been great. I mean, I still feel like I've slotted into like a really nice, healthy spot. So after losing about 40 pounds, that got me down to about 167. I now am about 175, which I think for me, especially somebody that does lift, that feels great. Lifting not on a deficit right now has been awesome. So I mean, it's just a shot in the arm. But yeah, I feel like the genius of the transformation challenge is it just equips you and hooks you up to the tools, the resources, the lifestyle things that you can continue to do going forward. So like for me, my absolute kind of cornerstone activity is a morning walk. And so it's not a crazy walk, but it's about 3 miles. And so I've just learned throughout the challenge just kind of how to break up my day to kind of get to my walking goals, because
I did over 2 million steps in the challenge. I got just over, which is about 22,500 a day. I thought, I can modify this, but I figured out the layout of the day and that hasn't changed. So starting with my morning walk in 3 miles, that means if I kind of have an average day for me just living, I'll end up over 6 miles. And that's good enough to kind of maintain my weight. So that's clutch for me. And then just knowing what foods work too. That's huge.
It's kind of been my thesis because, even when I was into fitness, when I was younger, I would have these huge swings. I would go from, you know, shredded at 200 pounds to being like very fluffy at 245. And I could never just find that happy medium until I got my treadmill.
Yeah.
Now,
Yep.
I made a post today on my Instagram. I'm 217. I'm as strong as I've ever been. I've got a pretty good set of abs. I mean, I feel both lean and athletic. Whereas I used to never be able to find that happy spot. And you're like, I love calling it a cornerstone activity. I'd never call it that, but I wake up every day and I walk, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes 45, sometimes an hour. Maybe there's something I'm watching. Maybe I have less work to do that day, but that really sets me up to feel like, okay, whatever I do the rest of the day, I've already had
Yeah.
some good activity.
Yep. Absolutely. And it's part of just how my psychology works. Like I would throughout this cut have a slighter, even forego a typical breakfast, start my calorie intake more around noon. And when you're walking, 5 miles or so before noon, that's so much momentum behind your back for the rest of the day to kind of go about your eating plan. And so it's a lower version of that right now, but it's still working for me. So
Yeah, and I mean honestly, like when I really want to do a bodybuilding show, I'm very meticulous, but I find that when you keep the same routine, like I keep the same kind of meals, I might not be as meticulous, but I'm eating the same foods, the same
yeah.
schedule. Did you use any of the resources? Because this challenge, we included a lot more meal plans and training plans than we ever had, and we're actually going to be doing more of that in the next one. We found that, that's part of the value there. So were you utilizing any of those resources?
Yeah, especially like just the macro targets. And so some of the meals, but I will say I personally got the most value from the forums and just the
Yeah, the
communicating
community.
with other people doing the challenge, getting their cheat codes. I remember messaging everybody, yo, what is your protein hack? What is delicious that's got a ton of protein or whatever? And I got so much good stuff that it's still in my refrigerator, and it's probably it's gonna still be there because I just found the stuff that works. But that was the biggest problem, value I think that I got.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the steps because I think Dan, who won, I think when we talked, I don't
Yeah.
remember, but he had some crazy step number goals. I think also
Yep.
made. Were you guys chatty during that?
No, I actually didn't communicate with him much. I communicated with some other folks, but when you're in the forums, like I really set out to do my best and I wanted to win, and I would keep an eye on some people and kind of see what they're doing, how they're doing. And he was always somebody that I was just like, this guy has got it. And I knew I wouldn't be the only one with the 2 million step target. But you know, he got it and I know some others got it. So kudos to them.
Yeah, I want to say, am I crazy or did he say on his birthday he did 50,000
He
steps
did
or
54,000 steps. I
yeah.
never, yeah, my record was probably 42 or something like that, but that is just outstanding. Yeah. So tip of the
Well,
cap.
sometimes, like when this video comes out and I'll put it on my channel and people will be like, that's ridiculous. You did 40,000 steps or 20. And I'm like, it's not ridiculous. It's a challenge. Like,
Yeah.
don't you want
Yeah.
to challenge yourself, push
Yeah.
yourself? That's the benefit of going for 90 days. This is what we're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was fun for me in the sense that like the genius of walking is that it's a multitasking like event. Like I could call my friends, I could call
Yeah.
my family who are on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. I can podcast, like I can do it in such a way that's enjoyable, not taxing on my body or my soul in the way that maybe running or something else is. And I really I some of those days it was fun to just challenge myself.
So let's talk about calorie ranges. What was do you remember like your calorie or macro ranges when you started and finished?
Yeah, I took those all down for you, and I was actually surprised because I averaged it all out last night. But when it was all said and done, for the whole program, I did about 1,750 calories per day, just around 150 grams of protein per day, 50 grams of fat per day, and 140 carbs per day,
Yeah.
is what it totaled out being. That's probably somewhere I would adjust if I were to go back and do it a little differently. I would definitely probably up the protein, maybe even up the carbs a little bit. But I found just as I was going through it, the days that I lifted or went to the gym, I handled my protein differently. It's probably because I'm following up the lift with a protein shake and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'd definitely be more mindful of that for more consistent protein intake if I were to do this all again.
Yeah, I think especially when you're not lifting, your hunger signals might be a little bit lower. But for you to be dropping that much weight over the course of 12 weeks, what was your life like prior to the challenge? Were you just eating out? Were you drinking 2 liters of soda? Like, what was your nutrition like?
uh, I think it was just broken kind of my thing is I love to eat and I love to drink. Like the actual act of doing it, I have a hard time just restraining myself. So when I went throughout the challenge, what I talked about with the morning walk slash waiting to eat a little bit longer, that was a restriction tool that I've now kind of adopted since then. But before it's like I can have as big a breakfast as I want, and I can have a big as it's kind of just whatever I want to do. But now it's much more targeted. It's just like
Yeah.
kind of what's my budget? What do I want to kind of plan ahead for? And that's the make or break. Is it just wandering through life having a general sense of I think I'm healthy, or I know what it's going to take for me to be healthy and I'm going to plan that out. And that's night and day. So I was
Yeah.
lifting before, and I would even go on the elliptical and kick my own butt, but I wasn't doing something that I would want to do for the long term. And
Sure.
anything that's I'm not gonna it just falls flat. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of walking is that it is a cheat code for fat loss, especially for people that may be a little bit more sedentary in their lives, because as we get older, that's what happens. You're driving
Yeah.
places, you're sitting places. It's kind of my theory now is that our metabolism does not change. We change to the point that we
Yeah.
require less calories, but we continue to eat the same amounts.
Yep.
Um, because we just move less throughout life. Like, whenever I ask somebody like, okay, well, when I do my client consultations, I go, what time of your life were you like the leanest? And usually it's like high school. And okay, what was think about high school. Most of us like either walked to school, rode a bike to school, or walked around
Yeah.
campus all day.
Yeah.
We're not doing that anymore. We're waking
Yeah.
up, rolling out of bed, hopping in a car.
And that was the hardest thing for me. You're exactly right. Like I played multiple sports, high school, college, and intramurals on top of it. And all that activity was just in the flow of my day. Once that changed, I thought, man, how could my metabolism flip a switch like this? Well, it was just my behavior. It was,
Yeah.
and that's tough. So
Yeah.
we kind of have to now build that into our lives to offset
That's,
that.
that's my new catchphrase. Body fat isn't stubborn. People are.
Mm,
we
Yikes.
we want to we want to take like a pill instead of like changing our day, right? We
I
want
know.
that to do or you want to get what's the Wellbutrin or I don't
Yeah.
know, all those shots now that are just making people not eat, and they don't realize that once they stop taking that shot and they go back to normal, they're just going to put the body
Yeah.
fat back on.
Absolutely, but we've already talked about it, but it's so important to just not believe that you have to do something that makes you miserable to get the results that you want.
Yeah.
Like I thought exercise equals like absolutely gassing it to 100% every workout, and that's just what it means to be healthy. And once that bar gets lowered to hey, consistency and like less intensity over the course of time is going to give you way better results. That's achievable.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah. I mean, you're a perfect example of like literally you just turned a couple dials. It wasn't a complete departure from like life. You didn't
yeah.
go, oh, I have to cut out alcohol and do 3 hours at the gym. No, it's
Yeah.
literally just these little dials.
Yeah, I drank alcohol. I would allow myself like a couple beers on the weekend. Like I allowed myself days to enjoy. Like even when I lost 40 pounds, like I wanted to win, but I also wanted to set myself up for my future to say, like realistic things that I can do as far as intake goes. So I didn't deprive myself of everything I love when I was on this challenge. And like that's not what it really looks like to maintain health.
Yeah, and that's the thing I struggle with because, this is a transformation challenge, and I know some people do kind of go to extreme measures. I remember somebody from one of our previous challenges telling me they were doing like 1 meal a day. And I was like, yeah, but is that ideal? I get it
Yeah.
worked for you for 90 days, but that's not
Yeah.
really what we're after here. And that's why when we look at the pictures and we judge, we're trying to judge the before and after and really
Mhm.
tell because, sometimes the weight loss is maybe not as extreme as 40 pounds,
Yeah.
but the physique change is drastic because they're
Yeah.
recomping.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
I mean, my transformation for me personally, like it was a difference between me really liking how I look and feel and not. Like that was a
yeah,
weight that I carried, no pun intended. Like every day, I like, when you're especially when I had a former level of fitness,
right.
I'm disappointed. But now it's just like I'm encouraged, man. It's uplifting to
I'll tell
reach these
you the
goals.
secret for guys, I think the secret for happiness for men is when we get rid of that lower back fat. Like that
Oh
stuff that
yeah,
hangs over your jeans, when that's gone and you can actually start tucking shirts in again and feel
it's
like
cool.
that's a good feeling for me. I love tucking a shirt in with a belt and being like, yeah, I actually have a waist. I don't have like a tire around. Um,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you start
Yep.
pulling the pants up a little higher or lower to accommodate that. What's your next goal? Like obviously you did the challenge. It's
Yeah.
been a minute. Like, are you focused on anything right now?
Well, I mean, it's cool because after I finished and like posted a picture online, like I had multiple people just hit me up in my DMs to say, "Yo, congratulations! What did you do?" And I told them about your, program, and I have friends that are just wrapping up now
Oh, the
the
summer sculpt.
the
Nice.
summer sculpt, and like I'm kind of happy to pass on what I've learned to other people. So, as far as my own fitness goes, like I think I've just learned enough about myself to just know like I need a target to really hit to be at my best. And so my wife, she wasn't able to do the summer sculpture, but she wants to do the fall program. So like
Perfect.
I'm going to go through that with her and just help her reach her goals. And I hope that as well for some of my other friends, just to be a part of their program. I actually also started doing an ISSA cert for working with folks over 65.
Perfect.
Just because I had a pastor at my church that said, "Hey, could you help me?" And I was like, "Well, I kind of would need a little bit more knowledge to know how to help." So, yeah, so I'm doing that.
It's really cool when, that's one of the first things I remember about the first time I dieted down was I saw my sister and then I didn't see her for a couple months and she had lost like 20 pounds. And I was like, oh, you lost 20 pounds. She's like, well, yeah, I saw that you did it. I was like, well, I can do it too. You almost
Yep.
become like I don't want to say inspiration, but you become
Yeah.
someone's motivation that like, oh, if
Yeah.
you can, so can I.
Oh yeah. My dad, when I was just visiting the East Coast last week, and he was telling me, about his steps, or I'll be on the phone with him. And once I call him, he's like, once I have a rule when I'm on the phone, I pace. I walk, I steal some steps. And I'll be on the phone with him and he'll be like, I was sitting down when you called me, but now since you called me, I'm up and I'm walking around. And that
Yeah.
stuff, it's that's really cool to try to be in any way a part of somebody else's journey.
Yeah. And it's cool that it's kind of ignited something in you that you go, you know what? I think I can help others.
Yeah.
Um, did you get to join the Summer Sculpt community? Were you in there?
I was not in that one.
For
I
sure,
didn't
let
know
us
I
know
could
if
hop.
you'd
Yeah,
like to join. We're going to be opening it up in a couple weeks to all the people. So
cool.
yeah, definitely let me know if you'd like to get in there because we like to
Yeah,
have past winners in just to
yeah.
provide support and
Oh
honestly, it
yeah,
can help you keep your journey going too.
absolutely. No, I'd be thrilled. I didn't even know that was a thing. That'd be great.
Yeah, and any other thing you want to share or like because we talked about the nutrition, the training, the community. Anything else from your experience you want to share?
Um, I would say, um, let me take a quick look here.
Did you
I,
purchase a treadmill for your house or did you do something at home?
I did. I purchased one in the middle of it, like one of the cheap $100. There's no
Oh,
railing or anything. I mean, this thing
like a
goes 4
walking
miles
pad?
a mile. Walking pad. I got that to just supplement because I go to the gym and I walk, or I'd walk around the neighborhood. Luckily, I live in a hilly neighborhood, but I made a deal with myself that if I want to watch my favorite baseball team from Philadelphia play baseball, I got to be walking while I do it. So I would definitely use a habit stack. But um, I would just encourage anybody that's just thinking about it, just to do it, just to take the plunge and to do this for yourself. And whether you lose 40 pounds or 20 pounds or 15, it's well worth it. And it took me a second try to really put everything together. So it is a process and it's always going to be a journey. But I couldn't be more thrilled with the results. And want to thank my dad again, Phil, for tipping me off to your channel. And yeah, so thanks for taking
Yeah,
me
I
through this
think,
journey.
honestly, these kind of talks remind me why I love doing what I do. Um, and it encourages me to continue doing it, because sometimes,
Yeah.
it can feel like, I don't know if the message is getting out there as much, but obviously, with the challenge coming up, I'm going to be, talking about you and sharing your story. So
Thanks.
that's exciting.
It means a lot. Yeah, I'm just thrilled. It feels like I got, part of my life back, and it's just awesome.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks, Tim. I really appreciate the talk today, and thank you, and congratulations on your
Thank you.
triumph. I mean, that's freaking remarkable. And I think maybe any other challenge you might have won, but Dan was
Yeah.
just crazy.
He was amazing. Dan, congratulations again. You're a champ, man. So
Yeah.
thank you.
All right. Perfect. Thank you, guys.